This past weekend, many of us learned that 44 young brothers and sisters were shot in the city of Chicago. 5 died and even more injured in mass multiple shootings rooted in drug and gang violence in the city of Chicago. Many are wondering why the mass media in this country is not paying the attention to these young brothers and sisters being murdered in Chicago like they do across the country when others who don't look like us die in mass shootings and mass killings. It is unfortunate that we have to ask that question still today. We should know by now, in my opinion, Wayne, that the killings and shootings of young African Americans is not the nation's nor is it media's #1 priority to do something about that.
All right, so let's ask another question. Why do black folks in Chicago keep on killing each other?
We are killing each other because we have been robbed of an adequate and thorough knowledge of ourselves. We live in a nation where too many of our leaders have taught us to look to Washington and politicians to fix the internal problems of black people. We cannot look for the government of America to do for us what God has blessed us with the intelligence and the resources to do for ourselves. You have men like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who live in the city of Chicago, Barack Obama, the former president, lives in Chicago, Jesse Jackson lives in Chicago, and I said this many times. Why did not Barack Obama, when he was president, do something tangible and meaningful and bold to address the issues of the killing of young black men in Chicago?
Yeah, well, something you just said sort of struck a nerve with me. Look, people need to accept responsibility for their conduct. This notion that somehow the white oppressors, which is where I think you're going, is the reason that 17 and 18-year-old black kids or 16-year-old black kids are shooting other black kids in the street over stupid stuff. I just think, with all due respect, it's just an excuse. I mean, parents need to teach their kids. The breakdown of the family in those communities is part of the problem. I agree with you. Media doesn't cover it enough. Nor do I see these athletes or any of these other people rush into Chicago. That's a real national crisis.
I would agree with you that this is a national crisis. And I believe that the masses of white people in America are not outraged and angry by it because they don't see that same type of outrage and anger coming from black people like they do when a police officer kills one of us. When the cops kill one of us, there's marches, there's protests, but when we slaughter each other, there's no marches, there's no protests. What we are going to have to do is demonstrate to the world that what is happening at our own hands, by us, to us, is just as a priority as when a cop kills one of us also.
Yeah, but look, I think it's horrible what happened in Chicago. But it happens a lot in Chicago. And I don't think it's my job to be outraged. I think it's for the people who live in Chicago to be outraged. And people keep killing themselves off of stupid stuff.
It should be outraged because when the masses of young white kids are killed in mass killings and white folks die in mass killings, everybody in America should be outraged. Whenever there's mass killings in this country, we all should be outraged. You don't give a damn because the people don't look like you. That's the problem. But we should care when everybody else died in mass killings.
You know what? The excuse is wearing thin for the conduct.
But guess what? The guns are being brought in, not by us, because we don't have gun manufacturing plants. Right, we don't distribute weapons. Somebody that look like you bringing them guns into our community.
That's right.
But we got to accept responsibility for what we do with those guns.
That's right. Always the white guy's fault. Is that
we don't own those guns. You white folk do. Let's tell the truth.
Oh, come on.